Hey guys, Woody the Unexceptional Vlogger, I suppose. Today is a Q&A about finance. I went on Twitter, you can see Woody's gamer tag, follow me there. And I asked you guys what questions you would want to have answered. Got some stuff I didn't expect. Let's get going.
So you know the subreddit Explain It Like I'm 5? Can you explain stocks like I'm 5? Because all I know is that you want to invest in stocks and that you want to buy low and sell high. Also, shout out to my YouTube channel, Nerding Out. Check it out.
All right, we'll get to him next. So, Nerding Out wants me to explain stocks like they're 5, like he's 5. Easy enough. So, a stock is a piece of a company. That's it. No more, no less. It's as simple as that. When you buy a stock, you are buying a share. You've probably heard stocks called shares. You get shares of stocks. You're buying a share of a company, a little piece of it. How much of that is easy to figure out. Let's find this here. So I looked up Cisco. I prepared in advance for this. I used to work at Cisco. I'm just comfortable with the stock. And here it is. Shares outstanding, 5 billion. So if you buy a share of Cisco, which is about 31 bucks right now, if you buy a share of Cisco for $31, you own 1/5 billionth of that company. Bam, there it is. If there is a company hypothetically with 100 shares outstanding and you buy 3 shares, then you own 3% of that company, right? Because 3 shares out of 100 is 3%. If that company is worth $1,000 and there's 100 shares outstanding, then each share costs $10. How much a share should cost is a whole nother ball of wax. Like that is the $1 million question. You can look at how much a company is going to earn in the future. Like if you look at a company like Netflix, right? I think Netflix makes money, but the real excitement about Netflix is how much they're going to make, right? People, if I, here, is that Netflix? It is, I got it right. If you look at Netflix, you can see here. Let's go to the summary where things are easy to read. So the price earnings ratio on Netflix is $300. Or I'm sorry, 300 times. That's the ratio. That means that like if you were to buy a share today and things didn't change, it would take 300 years for that company to earn this $96 per share. So the reason it's so high is they think that sometime in the future, I don't know if that's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 1 year from now, that Netflix is going to start earning so much money that they'll get paid back earlier. If you look at Cisco, I'd assume that the price earnings ratio is much lower. It's 14. Right, compared to Netflix. That just means that they think that Netflix's profits are going to go up much faster than Cisco's profits are. But I bet if you looked at them, Cisco's more profitable today. Anyway, I'm digressing into how much a share is worth. What you really wanted to know is what's a stock or what is a share? And it is a piece of a company. And that's the answer.
Hey buddy, I'm about to start my first week of school. I'll be going to a community college to study mass communication, if that matters at all. And school is where my question basically, what it revolves around. Anyways, right now I'll be making just enough money, like 1 semester of work will pay off 1 semester of school. And I'll be doing work and school at the same time, right? So the thing is, at the end of this semester, I will have the whole semester paid off, but I won't have any money left over to save, or invest in mutual funds or stocks or anything like that. So what I'm asking is, should I go that route where I don't really have any money left over but school is paid off? Or should I maybe take a semester or take a year off school and just work, build some money, have some saved off to the side that I can use for school, as well as having an emergency fund and money to invest? What is the advice you would give me? I'd love to hear it. And thank you for the opportunity, man.
All right. I could talk about this forever. One, I really like the path he's on. He's going to community college and he's not swimming in money. That's what you do when you're not swimming in money. Nobody knows or cares where your first 2 years of school were. If you go to community college for 2 years and then you go to Harvard or Oxford, you've graduated from Harvard or Oxford, period. You don't even put those first 2 years on your resume if you don't want to. It's not, it's on you. So He's going to community college. He's paying his own way through, but he doesn't have enough money to buy all that other fun stuff: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and businesses and crap. At the same time, he invests in his education. But the thing is, investing in your education is okay. Even with college prices inflating like they have, quicker than the most of inflation, it is still a good deal. The difference in income that college grads make compared to non-college grads is high enough that paying your way through school is still a good buy, period. So the fact that you can't afford to buy shares in Cisco or Netflix or the S&P 500 or what have you while you're investing in your brain doesn't bother me. It's okay. Sometimes people throw out investing when they really mean spending. Yeah, I invested in a new washing machine. Dude, that's not an investment. You bought something. You had to, I get it, but don't call everything an investment. What you are doing actually is investing in yourself when you go to college. So yeah, no, I wouldn't delay in college to get some shares of Apple or whatever. No, I would do what you're doing. Go to community college. Eventually, it'd be awesome if you went to a 4-year school after that and increase your earning potential. Investing in your own brain, betting on yourself, it's not a bad idea at all. So there it is. That's what I would do. I would do what you're doing.
Woody, I'm 18 and I'm about $3,000 in debt from college. Situation happened where I wasn't able to pay tuition and didn't sign up for loan scholarships. What's the best way to go about repaying this? Always been a big fan. Keep making the vlogs.
Hey Woody, big time.
We'll get to him in a second. So, he wants to know how he's going to pay off his debt, and there's a couple of answers here. Let's make this all about me. There's 2 philosophies on paying off debt. One is you pay off the smallest account first. So he owes $3,000, right? Let's say that he owed 3 different people at $500, $1,000, and $1,500, right? That adds up to $3,000. Some people would say pay off the $500 first, right? Then you get this feeling of success. You've got one less bill to pay, and then attack the next one, then attack the next one, right? That's one way to attack it. The other way would be to pick off the one with the highest interest rate. And the math says that's the right way to go. You take out the one with the highest interest rate, and then you take out the next highest interest rate, and you work your way through all your debts or credit cards or whoever it is that you owe money to, and nail them one at a time. My answer is whichever one works better for you. If you think you just if let's say you've got $2,900 in one and $100 on the other, and it would make you feel good to pay off the 100, just have one less gosh darn creditor with their hooks in you, then do it. If it's all about paying it off as soon as you won't feel good until it's all gone, then tackle the highest interest rate first. Those are the ways to do it. And then how to pay off debt. Finance is this nice edge, right? Every year, your net worth either goes up or down. You're worth more or less than the year before. It's rarely the same. And if you want your net worth to go up every year, you spend less than you make, period. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter if you make $300,000 or $30,000. If you spend less than you make, your net worth goes up. A lot of times people point at their income line as the reason that they're having trouble. And I'll admit, if you're down around $30,000, it is tough to get by. But it's usually possible to reduce spending. There's usually something in there that you could give up that would have a little less, that would create less stress in your life. I was talking to someone close to me, and he has golf carts and ATVs and second properties and vacation locations and stuff like that. And he's like, man, I don't get to use them. And I said, do you own these things or do these things own you? You're working 7 days a week. It's been like 100 days in a row since you've had any time to yourself. You're stressed out. You're tired. You spend all of your time working on your debt and the things that you own. Is it making life better? Spend less than you earn and have less stress in your life. Just enjoy who you are and your family and Yeah, everything might be a little nicer if you just owned less crap. So, how to pay off your debt? Yeah, you can either take the smallest loan on or the highest interest rate on, whichever one makes you happy. But spend less than you earn, and you'll be a happier guy for it. All right, this guy's next.
Hey, Woody, big time fan here. You say invest in like S&P 500s and other stocks. How does one start? I'm 19 years old. I have a job at a movie theater. I want to start investing more money. Like, where do I go? Is there a certain place online, or do I do it in person? Or, yeah, thanks.
I love this question. I love a bunch of these questions I've had because maybe I wouldn't have thought to answer them. And like, I would bet that this gentleman who just asked me this question has signed up on a million websites before. I bet he's part of Reddit and YouTube and this and that and just some hobby site. And yet for some reason, when it comes to investing, he just feels like, he doesn't know what to do. So let's talk. I'm going to send you to Vanguard. The reason I'm sending you to Vanguard, by the way, I should mention, I have no association with any of these companies, even Cisco. The companies I'm talking about are mentioning, this is not some sort of like Woody gets money out of this deal. It's not. But I am invested in Vanguard. I'm a happy customer. I should say I do have my investments with Vanguard, and I'm a happy customer. They pioneered this idea of making the S&P 500 index fund cheap to invest in. So there's two ways to measure the S&P 500 index fund that you're buying into. One is how closely it mirrors the actual S&P 500. And that metric is kind of outdated because everybody is computerized now and everyone trades in milliseconds and crap. And they mirror it so well, it's no longer a way to differentiate one fund from another. It was in the 90s, but now everyone matches it practically perfectly. The other way to measure a fund is how much do they charge you to keep your money there. Now, they don't actually make you write them a check. They just take it from your investments. So let's pretend that this year the S&P 500 broke completely even, right? You put $1,000 in it and it didn't go up, it didn't go down. It did this rare thing where it's exactly the same. You'd look at your account and be like, there's like $998 in here. What's up with that? That's because the expense ratio was 0.2 or 0.02 or whatever that math works out to. And they took $2. So that's what happens. Your account just gets sort of deducted because they're charging you for putting your money in there and et cetera. But hopefully it grows a lot more than these deductions. Anyway, Vanguard deducts less than anybody else, or they're tied for the people that deduct the least, and that's kind of their thing. Their expenses are low. So I wanted to literally sign up in front of you guys on this site, but it asked for information like my social security number and things I didn't want to share in my video. So let's assume that you know how to sign up and punch in your address and that you're an expert in that. Open new account. And where's the money coming from? You're new to Vanguard, so we'll say the money's going to transfer in from your bank. This is an overview. Oh, by the way, you might want to watch this in full screen 1080p. Just a thought, because you could read the text better. And we're going to continue. Now, there's a couple kind of accounts. This is the part that I wanted to take you to: retirement and general savings. If you want to get rich, you have to wait, right? This whole investing thing, at least the way I do it, is a get rich slow scheme, for lack of a better term. The S&P 500 average cigar return is 10%, right? I think it was 10.04 when I looked at it for the last 20 years or so. So use 10% as a guideline. Here's my compound interest calculator. The yellow money is the money that we put in, and the green money is the money that are in the money that kind of the investments earned. So if you were to put it under a mattress, you'd have the yellow amount. If you were to put it in a return, a fund like the S&P 500, you'd have the green amount. You can see 4 years into this thing, you put 48 grand aside, and I can't even hover over the thing. Let's say, here it is. At 6 years, it's working. At 6 years, we put 72 grand aside, and we only have 27 grand in money that our money earned, right? So if you had put this in a mattress, you'd have 27 grand less if you put it together. You have the total amount. What I'm trying to demonstrate here is this miracle of compounding. You know, the first 5 years, 6 years, even 10 years, you're not earning a lot. You're not getting that free money. It's at the tail end. You know, when this thing goes from 8 years, you have 51 grand in interest, to 10 years, it goes to 87. That's nice. But when you go from 28 to 30, like in that 2 years, you made about $400,000 in interest alone. It's beautiful, right? When we choose the kind of account, you're really choosing when you're taking it out. If you put it in a retirement account, you're getting that money when you're 55. Those are the rules. Rules might change, you know, especially if you're putting this in. That guy, how old do you think this guy is? 19, maybe? He's not old. So, you know, the rules might change in his lifetime, but they don't change much. 55 is a good idea as when you'll be able to take this stuff out. Like if you're retired, it might be 65 if you're not retired. This money's in here for the long haul. You can kind of consider it gone, even though it's yours. It's gone until your retirement, when you'll be living it up big on the Caribbean with your umbrella drinks. So if you put it in general savings, you can take it out anytime you want. But you know, if you're looking to put it aside for 5 years and buy a car, or put it aside for 3 years and buy a house, then you're making a mistake. That's not what this is for. You can put it in a regular bank account where there's no risk of it going down if you're going to need it so soon. The real beauty in wealth accumulation happens at the end of it. You know, I often think to myself, like, dude, it'd be so easy to be worth like 100 million or $1 billion if I was a vampire, right? The hard part about getting rich is doing it in some amount of time that life is still fun. If you live 500 years, God, I'd be richer than Bill Gates. You know, it's a piece of cake. I'm digressing a touch. So he wants to know how to open an account. Go to Vanguard, open an account, go to retirement, and now you have a choice between Roth IRA and traditional IRA. I want to say this concisely. The shortest version is the math says Roth is better. Bam. The difference is with a Roth IRA, you don't get any tax deduction this year. You get your tax deduction when you take it out. With a traditional IRA, you get your tax deduction this year, but it's likely to be a smaller amount than it would be a long time from now. More specifically, with a traditional IRA, if you put aside $5 grand this year, then your taxable income is reduced by $5 grand. The thing is, as it grows in here, like this, you'll be paying taxes on this whole amount. With a Roth IRA, you pay taxes on the yellow part and you get the green part tax-free. So you can see how over time, like, yeah, I pay taxes on this little line and get the big line tax-free. That sounds awesome. That's how a Roth IRA works. So Roth IRA is better, but your tax comes in the future. And for a general savings, it's easy. Just do individual and you're set. And general savings, it is for investments that you expect to need before retirement. If you're really killing it in life, you might want to have both. You know, you'll have a retirement account that you start tapping into when you're 55 and a general savings account so that you could retire at 40 and not work those 15 years before you deduct from your retirement account. That's a thought. But anyway, this guy wanted to know how to set up an account. Go to Vanguard, open an account. It'll transfer in from your bank and you're good to go. There are minimums on these things. But usually those minimums are super low if you agree to make deductions on a schedule. So it doesn't take a ton of income to get started in investing if you're signing up for a schedule.
Hey Woody, I'm 22 years old and a senior in college, and I'm looking to finance my first car. But the problem is I work for cash and I don't make a lot, so I don't file taxes because I'm like under that threshold. but I make enough money to be able to pay the finance for the car. But no dealership will finance to me without a cosign because I don't have a tax form to show them, and I have nobody to cosign for me. So, is there anything I can do, or am I kind of just screwed? Thanks.
Not screwed. So, let's talk, bro. We got a lot to talk about. The first thing is there's a lot of car dealerships that are willing to lend money to people with no credit history like you. I know Toyota in particular has some deals, Scion or Skyon, however you pronounce them, has some deals for first-time car buyers, which I think is where you are. I do notice you're in a car as you are looking at buying a car, but I can't tell if it's yours or not or what the scoop is. So, yeah, I would go to a dealership and talk to them. And, there's other ways to prove income, like they could call your employer and verify, or they could look at your checks, the pay stubs and things like that. You can verify your income other than just tax forms. But and then the last thing, I'm sorry, I headed to that next point. When you graduate college, you mentioned you were a senior in college, even more programs open up to new college graduates. So that's a thing. Here's the thing, though. You want to sign up for a car payment? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to get on that treadmill already? I haven't had a car payment since 2004. I like it that way. It's all of life has a little more pressure on it when you have to earn. When you have a mortgage and a car payment, and someday we'll throw a wife and kids, and there's just more happening. Right now you need your job, I guess, but when you have a car payment and they're going to take your shit away if you don't keep your job, then you need your job on a level that you've never felt before. That's I don't know. I there's a video out there. We're going to watch maybe a minute of it together, and I'm going to link it in the description. If you somehow own this video, don't go crazy copyright claiming me. I'm just promoting your stuff. Check this out.
We Americans have a love fest going on with our cars. We love them. Where else on earth can you find a couple who is flat broke and living paycheck to paycheck, but with 2 brand new cars in the driveway? The problem is our mindset. We've been bombarded with the notion that we'll always have a car payment. So when the car starts to show a little wear, we just run off and sign a $26,000 note for a new one. Hey, car payments are just a way of life, right? That's the normal way of thinking. Well, the truth is that car fever and normal thinking are sabotaging our chances for success.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. Watch the video. I'll link it in the description. But man, don't get a car unless you really, really need one. If you need a car, buy one that you can afford. I would strongly advise you not to just take on a car payment because everybody else is doing it. Don't bury yourself in a life of have to instead of want to when you don't need to, if that makes any sense. There's a whole lot of have to, want to, need tos in that. Don't layer yourself with a car payment when you could easily drive something that's nice and reliable and fine and gets the job done. I love cars. I do. I've raced off-road. I've had buggies. I've had motorcycles. I've had cars, trucks. I work on them myself. I like them as much as the next guy. But if you live a life in debt, then you don't get ahead. So, I just want you guys to get ahead. Everyone watching this video, I'm pretty sure that was my last one. It is. So, I used to talk about Team Gamer Tag a lot, and you guys support me, and it's become my career, and I want to support you, and I want you guys to have great success and happiness in life. And when I hear a guy saying, hey, I can barely get a loan, how do I get them to loan me so much money and bury me in this debt? I think, man, bro, don't do that. Live a less expensive life. I have this guy that I care about. I was talking to him maybe a month ago, and he was like, dude, life is relentless. He's working 7 days a week. He's worked like 100 days in a row now. He doesn't get to enjoy his stuff. He has a vacation home. He has a golf cart. He has ATVs. He's got a Jeep. He's got all this awesome stuff. More stuff than I have. And he's just like doesn't get to use it. And it's like you have to ask yourself, do you own your stuff or does your stuff own you? Like, would you be happier if you sold some of it and didn't have any debt? How awesome would it be, like, if you just like lightened up the load that you're pulling instead of rocking like multiple jobs and stress and fatigue all the time? Because that's not the life that you're targeting. So bro, you want a loan? Tons of people will give you one after you graduate. I know Toyota and Scion have deals for first-time buyers. They target you guys. But I swear they target you like victims and then sign you up deep in debt. My advice would be to hit Craigslist, buy something you can afford, watch the video. Don't get buried when you don't need to. So there it is. If you like this video, click like. If you disliked it, click dislike. I hope that each and every one of you are just a little more set up for success than you were beforehand.
Multi-million-dollar deals, got $1 million deal. When I was younger, I would wonder how $1 million feel. And for real, it feel like I ain't even broke a seal. Cause when you drop hits, they want you to pick up the bill. Now my life is in Maryland, my heart is in Chicago. New York state of mind, but out LA, man, that's where I go. When I need to lay this shit down.